young man. By the way, the oldest president that ever was elected. We already know the path. First thing that we know about him, some of the changes that he's made and is in the process of making, is he's taken a significant measures along with the Republican-led Congress to begin the dismantling of Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare. Now, this past week, we saw some of the Republican senators stand up before the nation and explain a proposal that this committee is going to make before the full House and Senate. It's called the Patient Freedom Act. The Patient Freedom Act. And it's so called because it has not been approved yet. Representatives or Senators Kate Cassidy from Louisiana, Susan Collins from Maine, Shirley Capetto from West Virginia, and Johnny Esperson from Georgia are the sponsors of this bill, this proposal that they're making to the Congress. Let me tell you this, there are a lot of proposals out there. The Republicans still have not pinned down exactly what they're going to propose, what they're really going to present as a unified body. But as Senator Collins said, that we need to start from some point. We need to start somewhere so that we can debate, argue, change, and amend. Her exact quote. Something that will be presented later in the full body of the Senate and the House of Representatives. Now, let me say this about this bill, or this proposal right now, or this plan. Some of the aspects of this plan is that they're going to remove some of the authority, if you will, from the federal government and put it back into the hands of the various 50 states. And each state will be able to handle their portion of this act, this new health care program, as they deem fit. Medicaid would no longer be financed through matching funds from the federal government, but rather it'll be a block grant given to each state to use as they deem fit to support the Medicaid program. The Medicaid program will be a narrow program that will limit many people, millions of people that are already on the program. They'll be scrutinized even the more, and they'll be scrutinized by the states. So the criteria, the eligibility of your being on Medicaid is going to be a tighter eligibility window. So millions of people will be affected by this. Now that's just one of the bills. The Republicans as a whole have a plan to replace Obamacare, and there are many plans out there. As I said before, this is one of them. Some of them are more radical. Some of them want to, in fact, this program gives the state the right to maintain Obamacare if it chooses to. This is the Patient Freedom Act that these 4 senators are proposing. The majority leader of the Senate, Schumer, and he's the Democratic leader of the Senate, says this is a farce. This is just something that just more. It's going to hurt more than it's going to help. It's going to be more of a curse than a cure. And the radical conservatives within the Republican Party say that we want Obamacare repealed, dismantled completely. They don't think this goes far enough because it does allow a state that wants to remain in the Obamacare plan. If that state wants to stay there, they can. It probably is going to be defeated by the majority of the Republicans and the majority of the Democrats, this particular plan, unless they tweak it until it becomes palatable for all the Republicans. There are more radical plans out there that will do away with all of it. That even though this plan will include the plan I just mentioned, the Patient Freedom Act plan will allow for pre-existing conditions and for students that are still in school to stay on their parents' health plan until they're 26. Many of the plans proposed by the Republicans will demolish the pre-existing clause, and if it does maintain it, it'll give the employer the right not to honor it. An employer does not have the obligation to guarantee, though it's in the law of the land, it's not going to be a law that's binding to employers to live up to. If you want to, you can. That's what the law really is going to say. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to. And the more radical Republican plans also want to limit the students that are 26 staying on their parents' plan. That's going to gradually be faded out, and by 2020, it'll be eliminated. That's the plan. So we can see a lot of this is mirrors. There's a lot of us mirrors and delusional and really this alternative fact kind of thing that suggests that there's going to be some kind of continuity, that he's not going to abandon Obamacare all the way, but I doubt it very seriously. Donald Trump said it, and the many senators within the Congress as well as congressmen do not want to maintain Obamacare, or the real name of it is the Affordable Care Act, at all. They want to totally dismantle, repeal, and destroy it. But the Republicans still have not come up with a definitive plan as an alternative plan for the Affordable Care Act. Donald Trump has said that he will keep some portions of the old Obama plan until the Republicans can present a unified plan that will ultimately just totally do away with Obamacare in all of its facets. Hello, Margot. Good to see you. So, Trump's executive order has already begun the process. Congress is already, through the Republican leadership, has already mapped out at least one program that's complete. They're strategizing to either tweak this to death where it becomes a non-entity in terms of Obamacare being a part of any part of this, and Trump has already said that he approves and already has written some executive orders that will alter already Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act as we know it. The next change that has happened under the Trump administration has only been a week long already. Just a week. Think about it, 7 days. 3 hours ago he was sworn in as president of the United States. A week ago, 3 hours ago, noontime on January the 20th. This is the 27th at 3:15. So just in a little over a week, he has made some sweeping changes. The next thing that Trump has done he has given the go-ahead on continuing the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline, which will intrude on the sacred land of American Indians in the Midwest. He said, go ahead with it. Go ahead with it. So they're moving ahead with that. Both President Trump and his Republican counterparts on Capitol Hill have put forth sweeping anti-abortion measures. Now, yesterday here in Philadelphia, there was a march in the city of Philadelphia to protest the president and the vice president and the Republican leadership who had their planned retreat here in the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. There was a great march all day, all night. Even when the president and the vice president had left, there was a still march going on. Today, there's another march. There is a pro-life or anti-abortion groups. They're marching. They're marching in Center City, and the anti-Trump group is marching there on 30th Street in the city of Philadelphia, because this is the end of the meeting of the Republican leadership. President and vice president left yesterday. The others, the senators and congressmen that are part of this meeting, will be leaving today. So a lot of them are leaving on train, because keep in mind this is Philadelphia. You're going back down to Washington D.C. So most of them are traveling through train, and so they're meeting there at 30th Street Station, which is our train location, to greet them and to not to greet them in a friendly way, but to greet them and demand that certain things be done. We're going to talk about the marches and the strategy a little bit later. But let's get to some of the other things that he has done and is going to do. Trump has pulled out of our country out of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. He has pulled out of it. Now let me tell you this, that even Bernie Sanders thought he called it a disastrous trade deal. Obama wanted to maintain it, and he was trying to keep it on the Democratic platform, but even Bernie Sanders thought it was a disastrous trade deal that favored and was a better deal for other countries that were involved in it than was for the United States. And if he would have been made president, he too would have pulled out of this deal. So Trump has already signed into law that this country is pulling out of the TTP trade deal. Next thing, Trump is also planning to make big changes in NAFTA. Now, NAFTA is the North American Free Trade Agreement. All the countries in North America, Canada, Mexico, Greenland, all the countries here, Cuba, all the countries in Central America, all the countries in North America. He said there's going to be major changes between the agreements that we have made in the past with these countries that are here in North America. We're one of the countries as well. But we as a nation within North America, all the other nations, there's going to be a drastic change. This is coming. He's already signed it into law as far as executive order. Congress will pass it. They already said they're going to do it. Next thing, Trump is aggressively pushing for the immediate building of the wall, separating the borders from Mexico and the United States. So he's going to change NAFTA, which would include Mexico. It's part of North America. He's going to build that wall. Hello, Andrew. Glad you joined us. He's going to build that wall that separates Mexico from the United States. And he's going to do it with our tax dollars because Mexico said they ain't build no wall for nobody. So what he's going to do is have a 20% increase in the import tax, which will trickle down to us even going to the store and other places. Some of this will increase our taxes again. Poor Philadelphia, we got so many taxes. We got a sugar tax, we got a this kind of tax or that kind of tax. We're going to be taxed to death here in Pennsylvania, in particular Philadelphia, because that's where this sugar tax is. If you buy sodas now, if you buy anything that contains sugar in it, any drink that contains sugar, including many of even the fruit drinks, there's a tax on it now. Now we're talking about an import tax to pay for the wall. Congress said that they agree. They're going to support this proposal, this measure. Trump has vowed to prevent China from taking territory in the international waters of the South China Sea. China's response: if you are serious about doing that, it's the same as you waging war against us. Get ready for war. If you are serious about preventing China from taking territory in the South China Seas, China's response through its media is prepare for war. This is China. This is not Syria. It's not Saudi Arabia. It's not Afghanistan. This is China. Has the same kind of weapons that we do. And to be honest with you, we owe China an arm and a leg and a head and a foot too. We owe them financially. All they have to do, they wouldn't have to even fire a shot if they could just call them the loan. We borrowed from China trillions of dollars, and now we're threatening you better not try to take territory in the South China Sea. China said you can try it if you want to, but if you try to prevent any action on that we're anticipating, that you better be careful. It may be another form of declaring war. And let me tell you, if we ever fight nations like China or Russia, it's not going to be no pretty situation. You're talking about World War III. And millions upon millions died in World War I and II. Many more millions would die in World War III. We've lost thousands of lives in Vietnam, hundreds of thousands in Vietnam. We've lost thousands of lives in Afghanistan. We've lost thousands of lives in Iran. Iraq and Iran, for that matter, we've lost lives. Can you imagine us declaring war on a nation like China? First of all, they have many more people than we have. They have as many as 2 billion people. We have 300 and something thousand. 300 and something million, rather. So they outnumber us. They're a larger nation in terms of territory and land. And they have the same mass destructive weapons. They have the A-bomb. They have the H-bomb. They have the neutron bomb. They got all the bombs and all the weaponry that we have. Another thing that Trump has done, he has cut taxes for big business. Already, 7 days into the working. He's already promised he's going to cut taxes for big business. He has frozen the federal government hiring. So if you want to get a federal government job right now, you ain't getting much of that. There's a freeze on federal government hiring. Trump has signed an executive order to prohibit federal funding of so-called sanctuary cities. These are cities that protect the interests of those of immigrants, in particular those illegal immigrants, or those undocumented, not so much legal, illegal, but undocumented immigrants. Some cities are saying that you can